Welcome to the WEB3 Experience.
Welcome, everybody, to the Web3 Experience podcast. My name is your boyfriend, too.
And I'm NFTs with Nate.
And welcome. Today, we have a very special guest. But before that, we're going to talk about how bad the market is right now. So how are you feeling about it, Nate?
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. Sell everything. Burn it all. Get rid of it. I'm done.
Yeah,
Just
man.
kidding. No, that's how it feels. I mean, everything's down. When you see Bored Ape down by 20 ETH, you know it's not a good situation. Blue chips like that, everything's down 10, 15, 20%. ETH is down, Bitcoin's down.
Everything's
Wait,
down.
what do you think we got going on right now? What are you anticipating?
Man, I'm just confused because usually when ETH goes down, NFTs go up. And so people are like, it sucks. The value of ETH is going down, but at least my NFTs are getting pumped. And now we're not getting either of those things. NFTs are going down, ETH is going down, so people are just super frightened and scared. That's just how volatile the market is, but I hate it, and I rage sold some NFTs today. It wasn't even panic selling, I was rage selling. I was just so upset at the market. I was like, fuck this shit. But yeah.
You sold that Bud Light Next NFT?
Yeah, that's stupid ass Bud Light NFT, man.
I tried those Bud Light Next a couple weeks ago, and it tastes like piss water.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's a summer beer, man. It's like around the pool if you're gonna be drinking a bunch of them, but we're just hanging around drinking them, and I mean, it's like Bud Light light. It has not much
lighter?
taste. I mean, they're not terrible, but I mean, I wouldn't drink it at a bar. It's more like a beach beer.
Yeah.
I'd call it.
Did you buy the NFT before or after you tried the drink?
Bought the NFT before Super Bowl, and then I tried the drink like 3 weeks later. I saw him sitting in the store. I go, man, I own the NFT. I got to try the beer now.
Yeah. So if you tried the beer,
marketing strategy.
If you tried the beer before you bought the NFT, would you have bought the fucking NFT?
I don't know, man. Although the reason I
Probably
bought
not.
it, 'cause I thought it was gonna pump during the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
it did. But it was just so much activity on it. I thought the thing was gonna go up to like 3 ETH, so I was listing mine at like 0.75 and then 0.5, and kept undercutting, and it just got to the point where people were just undercutting a lot more than I did. So
Yeah.
I'm bag holding Bud Light Next NFT, which surprising me. There's still sales on it. Like there's people still buying it.
Yeah, it makes no
So
sense.
I don't even know what the utility is on that anymore. Sorry if you're a holder out there. We're flooding the bag right now, but I mean I have a right to because
Oh man.
I minted one. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I lost like 0.1 on that trade, so that you guys are gonna get all the FUD from me. I don't even care. I don't even care. Like, that was one of my stupidest FOMO investments I've ever made. Like, I literally saw the tweet, and they announced that they were gonna have a Super Bowl commercial, and so I saw it at like 0.1, 0.12 or something. So I was like, fuck it, let me scoop one up. And I did, and then right after the transaction processed, and I get the little ding, and my computer's like, boom, the transaction went through. I looked at my screen, and I was like, what did I just mint? I was like, what did I just buy right now? And I was regretting it the entire night. And then when that...
we all have.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, when that commercial, that NFT commercial came on, I was like, this can't be it. This is the drink commercial with a small little picture of the Noundles at the end. Like, how is anyone gonna know this is an NFT? And I should have sold when it pumped up a little bit, but
I think that was just poor marketing on their end. It was just don't hype it up like that and make $20 million. I don't even know how they minted 12,000 at 0.12 or something. So
Yeah.
I mean, they made millions off of that, and I mean, it was just poor execution. I mean, I throw an actual NFT degen out there to make the commercial. Don't throw some corporate junkie out there. And I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Bud Light's paying $1 million for a commercial. They're not. It's people were. I mean, if you thought it was just going to be a straight NFT commercial, I mean, you're obviously thinking wrong. I mean, it was never going to be that way. But show just a little bit of something more. Like show more than like a second worth, right? I mean, something in there. I don't know.
Oh man, are you in
I
that
don't like the
Discord at
move,
all?
but
Are you?
I'm in the Discord. It's not really that active. They got some event though in St. Louis coming up at the end of the month, so holders only event. But other than that, I don't really know what they have planned for holders. I'm still holding on. We'll see what happens. I feel like they can't. It's the only NFT that can't rug because I feel like Bud Light can't really rug. So
Yeah, but people went through the same exact thing with the Budweiser NFT. People are I should have looked into it before buying because, you know, people are super upset with the whole Budweiser thing because they did the same exact thing and now the floor is gone to nothing. And they don't keep up with the community at all. Like, in that Discord, there's been like 2 announcements since the Super Bowl, which is, come on. Like, that's ridiculous. I literally left that Discord today. I sold the NFT. It sold within a couple minutes because I undercut the shit out of the floor. That's such a massive loss. And I just left the Discord. I was like, I never want to see this again. But since you still hold one, I hope it recovers to an extent so you don't lose all your money. But, yeah, nah.
we'll see what it. I'm thinking about. I'll probably sell it soon, but
Yeah, if they do anything, I mean, you might as well hold on to it just to get those Nautilus glasses. Maybe you can resell those and make some money off of it, but who knows?
I don't even think I'm getting the Nondles glasses. So
Why not?
I guess they did a snapshot on the morning. So they were minting up until like 2:00 of the Super Bowl day, 2:00 Eastern, and they said they took the snapshot at 8 a.m. I minted mine at like 11 a.m. Eastern. So I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, I guess I missed the snapshot, so I don't even get down those glasses.
Yeah, I'm finding out for the first time now that I also missed the snapshot. So I'm glad I sold it that much more.
Yeah, we all. You were mentioning that you bought that NFT and 30 seconds later you just thought to yourself, what the fuck did I just do? I mean, we've all had an experience. You got something in your wallet that you minted and or bought, and not even 30 seconds later you look at the thing and instantly you overpaid gas, you FOMO'd into something, and it's just sitting in your wallet and you keep holding on because you just want it to continue to do well and it's never going to do well, and you got that story in the back of your head that, you know, that I had conviction behind that, and it just nothing happened for it.
Yeah, no.
And that NFT is going to sit in your wallet and continue to laugh at you.
Yeah,
Just knows you're a terrible degen investor. So
it happens to the best of us, man. You win some, you lose some. That was definitely an L for me. But not financial advice. Since we're in a bear market, this is where people make money. So if you wanted to invest in projects, the floors are dipped a lot. So now is the time, or in the next couple weeks before we head into another bull, now is the time to invest in your high conviction projects. Probably not some projects that are not going to survive this bear market, but, you know, big good projects like psychedelics at like 2.7 right now. Last time we talked, it was at like 5 ETH. So it's like, you know, now's a good time to invest. Not financial advice. Do your own research, but that's how I feel. Right now, I'm just mad.
And it's a good time too for some of your big plays to dollar cost average, depending on where you got in at. So I mean, it's a very good opportunity to basically lower your cost basis in hopes that in a couple of weeks or months or days or whenever we get out of this bear market, we don't really know if it's going to be a mini bear market, it's going to be a full-fledged bear market, what's going on here, but good opportunities. I mean, someone got a Bored Ape today for 60 something ETH. I mean, that's just insanity.
Yeah, and if they were looking for a flip, they could sell it right now for almost 75 ETH. So they just made a couple, a couple $10,000.
You just had to be on OpenSea or Luxor at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, with the liquidity too.
There you go. Yeah, there's quick 25K.
Absolutely. Now that was some alpha for you guys. Now let's head into our interview, where you can get alpha from our very special guest. We'll see you there.
Hey guys, today we have on DC Plainview. DC has a background in tech, working with consumer analytics and management consulting. He lives in the New York City metro area and is a huge outdoors skiing, snowboarding, and hiking fan, and of course, a Psychedelics Anonymous community member. Welcome, DC. How you doing, man?
Thank you, Nate. Doing well, doing really well. Appreciate you guys inviting me on, giving me the time to do this, and taking all the time and effort to put this together. So, super cool to be here with you guys.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you on, and just for starters here, I mean, take us through your Web3 or NFT journey. I mean, what got you into this space ultimately?
Yeah, it's a good question. Ultimately, what got me into the space, I think, it was kind of a two-piece or two-prong um, motivating, factor of ownership piece is extremely, I think, extremely attractive to me, and not just in the you get to own whatever JPEG that you have, right? You get to own your NFT, but just the way that ownership is being shaped and that you can truly own and forge your own path for whatever the hell it is that you want to do, right? It's given an outlet to a ton of different creatives so that they can get their work put out there and really own their brand and own their own company and their efforts. Any type of a company, even if we get outside of collectibles, just having full ownership of that space and exactly what you can and can't do with your company. I love. I'm somebody that, kind of growing up, I don't know if you guys are similar. I was always the one that I didn't get in too much trouble, but I did have a problem with authority a little bit. I always kind of wanted to push back against the grain a little. I'm sure we could say that for a
Uh,
lot of it. That's why
oh
we've
yeah,
got the
nothing
feet.
wrong with that. Couple stories here and there. I mean, you got it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I was the same, but I got in trouble. I got in a lot of trouble when I was
Yeah,
younger.
you got to test the line right a little bit sometimes, but yeah, kind of the anti-establishment type of a feel, and I think that's what's so attractive for a lot of people about this space. But really, the ownership piece, and then also the other side is that I love collectibles. I grew up collecting about everything you could think of, from like coins and cars and signed baseballs and memorabilia, and I think generally people have one of two approaches in that they got into this space because they love collectibles or they love the technical side of it and they love, the blockchain itself and coding and developing. Um, I'm certainly more on the collectible side. I've been that junkie for my entire life. So that it scratches both of those itches for me. And it's just such a massive runway of, we were kind of chatting on this before, that this is our .com boom, and we have the opportunity to live through a truly legitimate technological revolution. Like, it's not overstating it whatsoever. So how can you not participate in it? Even if you do it and it's wrong, or if you fail a few times, like, just the fact that we have the opportunity is incredible. So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. When did you start really like investing into NFTs? Was it like were you an early person, or did you start in 2021, or when was it?
Not super early. I started about a year ago. Really, really focused on crypto about 2 years ago. I was aware of and saw, I was at least tied enough to the space that I knew crypto kitties when it came out. And I don't know what your opinion was with it, if you guys had any exposure. Immediately when I saw it, completely being honest, at the time I was like, this is bullshit, right? The first time I saw it, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, you're just paying money to own a piece of code. Like, this is a fad. I kind of had the same thing. I had really limited exposure, didn't understand anything. And so I thought, yeah, this is kind of stupid. And it ended up changing, a couple years ago, and more firmly, a year ago or so. As you guys mentioned, I'm up in the New York City area, and I have some friends that are really tied into the fine art world. They work at a couple of the auction houses, so I've been able to bounce around to a couple things with them over the past few years. And that's kind of where it clicked, where was seeing that type of art, and that's exactly the art that we have in a digital format. And eventually, at least a large portion or the majority of art could go that way, where it's all going to be, it's no different than putting up a massive picture frame on your wall or a TV where you're going to display your NFT. Like, that's what people are going to do instead of hanging up like a traditional piece of art, right? So yeah,
You
that's
s-
kind of
you
how
yeah, you mentioned that you're always big into collectibles, and obviously before NFTs have been physical collectibles. Have you ever in or bought something or that turned out to be fake, and then you kind of thought a couple of years later, now that you thought about that, and you thought, hey, I mean, if this was on the blockchain or if this was NFT, this never would have happened. Any instances like that, or were you a lucky guy?
I was a fairly lucky guy. I don't think I ever put out, a relatively big purchase and got burned. So there was no piece where I was like, yeah, I really want that ledger to track it. Definitely have gotten burned on some things, but nothing that stings too much. I think other than just buying into the baseball card phase, that I don't know about you guys, that you were kind of brought up to think that like every single card you would have, you just hold on to it, and it's it's gonna increase in value over time. You just keep all those, run of the mill cards, and it's just understanding the space. But no major rug pulls that really made me want the blockchain approach.
Cool.
Was it mostly baseball cards, or I guess what was your favorite collectible that you owned?
Yeah, I definitely think cards were the thing for me for sure. I mean, I grabbed every card that I could possibly get my hands on. Would go out and you go and try to like scope out. It's kind of the sniping of in the baseball card era, right? Where you try to find like the rares at different like card swap things, like when I was little. So yeah, that was definitely my main passion and the biggest collectible. But then all kinds of little things. Like I've been fortunate to travel a decent bit. I lived overseas for a few years since I was in a military family. So popping to different countries and like that was a cool thing to grab like coins and currency and just things that I wasn't exposed to and also pieces that reminded me of those experiences. That's always been something I've been attached to.
That's really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. I have a Canadian dollar sitting somewhere. It's about the
Oh yeah.
only currency collectible I got, but it's something.
Yeah, I think they've got us on money. They've got that plastic money. It feels like it's more durable than the American dollar, but
Yeah,
a little
that
less
is true.
valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess take us through, you know, your journey through Psychedelics Anonymous. Were you early on? Were you whitelisted? Um, I guess, yeah. What did you see in Psychedelics Anonymous that essentially made you ape in?
Yeah, I wasn't super early. I was early enough to know about the project and started researching it. I was early enough, but too late to get on, or I thought too late to get on the white list to be able to get in. So I bought as soon as it hit secondary. And I started, researching the project. It started popping up with influencers and all over groups. I'm sure you guys were somewhat the same. And the kind of crazy thing about it, like the it that made me buy in was almost the it that made me not buy in because like as I was going through my mental checklist, it checked too many boxes to where then I didn't trust it again. Right? Where I was
Yeah.
like, wait a second, all this is making sense, like something is wrong here. Right? Like the founder is legitimate, has run businesses before and had a front row seat to, the board apes and the art is amazing and there's lore and there's like every box is being checked and then I was like well maybe it's too good to be true and so I didn't ape in like I should have and I'm sure all of us now in hindsight would be V-man if we had the knowledge that we have now back then
Yeah.
but yeah all those pieces of it just literally failed proof with how many boxes it checked and also ultimately being a collectible guy I love the art like the art is insane.
Yeah, I love the Psychedelics Anonymous art. I was trying to get on that Mechaverse train because I loved the sneak peek art that Mechaverse put out. And even now, the
Yeah,
Mechaverse art is nice, that 3D stuff, but it was just the whole reveal process that was terrible. But
right.
not psychedelics, that whole dystopian, dark, 3D look. That's the type of stuff I go for. That's the type of stuff I love. So I definitely feel that like from a collecting perspective. So I think it's really cool
Yeah.
that other people feel the same way because like a lot of people like when I first brought the project to friends and showed family about it, they were like, yeah, but like, nah. And those are the type of people that preferred the art that like CryptoPunks or Cryptodes were. Like, I hated that
Right.
pixel stuff. I loved the really cool high quality art. Um, so that's really cool. And like you said, it kind of checked off way too many boxes. And they say like if it seems too good to be true, it most likely is. So I totally understand your viewpoint on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's not something that you see with a lot of projects, so I think we're all in kind of a unique place where it just seemed like it couldn't fail, because everything was in the right place. But we were right, or Bolt was right, and at least we got on board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So DC, you have your own project, founder, owner. Talk to us about it. Powder Monkeys, everybody. DC reached out a couple weeks ago, and we were just conversing about some things, and um, I looked into it myself, and awesome project. DC, tell the listeners here, kind of what you've been through, and kind of what the current state of your project is.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, one, thank you for connecting in and checking it out and having some belief in it. I think where we're at now, just the state of the project is that I was working on it when I started getting into PA. This goes back to about August, September or so. Whenever the first inklings of this started to take off. And I think really the biggest catalyst or the biggest piece going into my own project was one, I had my own project motivation and passion and kind of the ethos of the company itself. But the other piece is that I've been involved with, like I mentioned to you guys, in management consulting. I've helped run and scale businesses. And I've been fortunate to have that experience. It's all, for the most part, been face to face. Like, I lived that consulting life where I was on a plane 2, 3, 4, 5 cities a week, and it just exposes you to so much to where you can at least start to understand and pick out like what works, what doesn't work, in the typical pitfalls that you see in businesses. And there's just so much shit in this space because we're so new that if it wasn't so distorted and so chaotic, I don't know if it would have been enough motivation for me to launch a collection, to be honest. The selfish kind of piece of like the cool part of the project and the utility would have, but the piece of like so many ruggings and participating in them myself too, right? Of actual legitimate, like straight up rug pulls, of slow rug pulls, or just of people, and I think we're seeing more and more of this, people that cannot execute their ideas or execute running a business. They can have all the best intentions, but then the minute that it launches, 2, 3, 4 months after launch, it's completely in the toilet. And so that was a piece where I was like, I know for a fact that I can execute that piece, right? And so that, coupled with, the passions that I have of, you mentioned during the bio, of these in real life experiences and these, outdoor experiences, or some people will say like kind of the more extreme side of snowboarding, skiing, hiking some of the big mountains, those type of things. Those experiences have been something that have been some of the best memories of my life, and the people you do it with, like, you remain friends with those people forever, right? So don't get me wrong, open bar is super cool somewhere, and I'm down to do that with you guys and with everybody else, and I plan on doing it. But can we take it one step further and do something super cool like that at least one time a year, or really the goal is to do it multiple times a year?
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
I actually just took up, that was my quarantine hobby with during COVID 2020, skiing. So
Did you?
I went out west the first time this year. Awesome experience. How long have you been skiing, snowboarding? Oh, we went out to Breckenridge.
Oh yeah, that's. I feel like either Breckenridge or Vail was the first place that I skied. Being East Coast, I didn't realize like East Coast skiing sucks. It's all
Oh,
ice, like it's not fresh
it's
powder.
terrible. It's
And
terrible.
the first time, like if you learn out there and then you go to the East Coast, you're like, wait, what the hell is this? Like, I'm just scraping across the top of ice. Um, yeah, you kind of get spoiled learning out there, but I would say for at least the past 5, 6, maybe 7 years, I've been super into it. It's a crazy experience, right? Like if you've been doing it, like it's wild. It's hard to have a bad time. You can't frown skiing or snowboarding. Impossible.
You do you snowboard or ski, or you do both?
I'm a skier. Like I'll throw a snowboard on every once in a while, but I'm terrible. It's always been one of those things where I'm like, I'll take the time to get better, but typically for any type of a ski or a snowboard trip, you're pretty limited on time, right? You've got like 2 or 3 days, so it's like, do I waste an entire day just falling and not maximizing my fun? So one day I need to put that effort in and really just get better at snowboarding.
Yeah, I've never gone to like an actual like ski lodge, and I've never gone skiing. But I would go to the golf course down the street, and I would grab like
Yeah.
a piece of cardboard, and we would just slide down those hills, and that was always fun when I was younger. But I've actually never gone like, officially skiing or snowboarding. And one of my good friends, he's apparently like really good at skiing, and I
Yeah.
don't know what that even means. But I'm like, can you do like jumps and backflips? And he's like, yeah, like no problem. So I can you do like jumps and stuff? Can you do like backflips and all that cool stuff?
No backflips. I can do some small jumps. Nothing X Games or Olympic style. So I keep it fairly tame. I've got a group of friends that every year they go heli skiing out west. So that's essentially, if you don't know what it is, it's where you hop in a helicopter and they just drop you off in the middle of nowhere, right? In the like crazy like not manicured snow slopes. You know, you're just legit skiing in the wilderness,
Whoa.
and you have to get up there by helicopter. And that's the same thing. I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, I've got
Yeah.
stuff to do. I can't go break a leg or my neck. And one day I will for sure, because I want to check that off the list. But they're way more hardcore than me.
Yeah, that sounds intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is awesome. I have a buddy who was talking about doing that. Not with me, but he was just saying that he was going to go out with his buddy. I mean, it looks awesome. I always watch the YouTube videos and stuff of people doing that, the unpaved trails and whatnot. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
knowing my luck, I'd go down with some type of injury. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're project owner, um, and obviously the market is a huge factor into success of projects. What's your take on this current state of the NFT market, crypto market as a whole, and how are you navigating a potential bear market we might go into, or um, less people minting NFTs because liquidity is being sucked out of the market?
Yeah, I couldn't be happier about it, man. I mean, I could be because my all my NFTs could be worth more, but the fact that I happened to choose the past few months to really double down and focus on building, you can't find a better time to build than in a bear market, right? Like because when things are quiet and it's the same thing as like the stock quote of when there's blood in the streets, that's when you buy, right? And so this is the same thing. Like everything is quiet. You know, people are getting a little bit scared of the space. Like now's the time to build so that you know whenever things are going to launch, whenever you're going to get out and execute everything, you're bound to be, or more than likely will be back in an upswing. And it's also we really needed more scrutiny on the space, right? You know, I kind of talked about that was the catalyst for starting this was like, I wanted to start a collection that I know and will and does provide immediate utility and immediate value back to holders. And so this is great now that everybody's starting to be a lot more scrutinous, right? And look at projects. And now you want to see teams that are doxed and you want to look at the backstory and you want to make sure everything's checked out. And people just weren't doing that before, right? Like you'd see something minting out and you'd find out about it. I don't know if you guys have done it. I've done it plenty of times. I found out about stuff the day of and like, oh shit, I need to get into this, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
let me just go and hop in here. And not that we're going to stop doing that completely. But I think it's much needed, and I'm just really happy that I'm doing this now instead of, you know, if it was a few months ago, if we minted out and then dove into the bear market, I probably wouldn't be as happy because that's kind of some shittier timing.
Oh yeah, I agree. There's like this one project, Cybonics or something like that, and apparently the art is super cool, and they're a good team or whatever, but they didn't mint out. I think they minted out like 2,000 out of 10,000, and
Yeah,
everyone that bought into that project is now dumping. So like it just kind of shows how illiquid the market was, because a project that looked as good as the art does for that project, if it was released a couple months ago, it would have sold out in a heartbeat, and it would be in an upswing probably right now in terms of secondary market. So it's cool
yeah,
seeing people actually vetting projects now and like putting a higher standard on projects, because that's something that should have been done months and months and months ago. But since it's such an early space, people are now starting to learn, like after the whole squiggles thing and the hype bears.
Yeah.
It's better to actually take a look at projects, see what the intentions are, and kind of not invest into a promise, because that's what a lot of us are doing. We're investing into a promise, and you got to kind of invest into something that is going to give you immediate utility, like how Powder Monkeys is planning to do. If I buy something or if I mint something and I get something back almost immediately, that's way more rewarding than hoping a floor goes up so I can flip this NFT. Because I think that that's a meta, and I think that's going to change soon. So it's really cool that you're building something like that, and like you said, building during a bear market is the best possible thing. So that's awesome. It's awesome that you're actually doing this now, and hopefully releasing when things are doing better, because I can see this project having a lot of success, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I couldn't agree with you more. And even if it's a slower start, we're certainly not planning on that. But the market's going to recover. Like, we're so unbelievably early. I mean, a bear market for us is probably another 3 weeks. You know, in
Yeah.
all reality, like, I mean, who knows? We do have a lot of external economic factors at play right now, but um, still don't have complete mass adoption, right? Like, we all understand that, and that's this insane wave of users and money that's going to come into the space when that happens. If Coinbase NFT ever happens.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
giving.
I don't think they're ever going to launch. I mean,
Yeah.
what?
They are. Well, I at least know. I've seen somebody had shot me over something. They've been hiring like crazy in the New York area, in the New York metro, for all kinds of developers and positions on their NFT side. Like, you can just job search Coinbase. I think they're still up, so I at least know they were putting in the effort. Obviously whether they decide to launch or not is a different story, but I mean, it is real behind the scenes from what you can see.
Yeah, I mean, I entered that email thing. What was it, like back in August, to get onto like the wait list? We're in March. It's almost April, kind of. Like we're it's been so long, and I understand that it takes a while for a marketplace to actually, you know, be run well and provide the things it needs to provide. But I don't know. They have so much time. They have so much so much funding. Looks Rare. How long did Looks Rare take? Not saying Looks Rare is like a great platform, but it didn't take as long as Coinbase has taken. So hopefully they're doing a solid job at actually building over there.
I don't know a lot of the specifics, and not to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but I'm assuming that there's got to be some complications with the fact that they're trying to execute that you can buy with fiat money essentially, right? And that you're not buying with crypto, or that you don't know that you're buying with crypto. So I'm sure that integration, that piece has got to be a pain in the ass, and it's certainly different than what Looks Rare and what um, OpenSea are doing right now. So I'd imagine they've got a hell of a lot of red tape to run through with that. I don't know. There's probably a million other things too, but that will be something super cool that we'll get. I'm sure we all know plenty of people that you're never going to be able to talk to about like how to buy something through MetaMask.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work for a lot of people. So if they can conquer that challenge, then man, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, man.
I remember because I mean, to even buy an NFT, I mean, still now, I mean, if you tell your parents or brothers that haven't been around this, like the steps of, all right, first you got to download MetaMask, then you have to transfer money or buy through MoonPay and MetaMask, then you have to do this and that. I mean, so you write a whole book on it. I mean, how to currently buy something. So I mean, Coinbase coming in, and if they do it right, good partnerships and they establish a good marketplace. I mean, just millions of people and the liquidity that the space needs right now. So I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good for the market as a whole and good for a lot of these blue chip projects and ones that are actually truly building and not just these hype flip and dump projects.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
Yeah, so what being a project owner, I know there's a lot of PA members that will be listening to this podcast and they're going through the Web3 accelerator right now, and you that's been someone that's been building for a while now. What has been challenging during this building phase? Any bumps in the road that you had to navigate through, and things that you didn't anticipate happening, that you kind of had to work around.
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and it's it's somewhat hard to answer and easy to answer in that absolutely everything has been challenging and has been a bump. And I think the only thing you can count on is that everything is going to go wrong at some point, and to just anticipate that and to make sure that you've got a contingency plan and that you've got resources to help you fix that. But I think if you're building a project or if you're planning on it, if you approach it with the mindset that you're going to execute it in some linear fashion and it's not going to go south, you're going to be very, very disappointed. You're going to be discouraged. You're probably going to quit. So I think that's the biggest thing is just anticipate and expect everything to go wrong. And then I think the other piece has been just execute, and that's been partly from my own experience of, that's the kind of old school mantra for startups of like move fast and break things. It really still kind of does apply to this space and when you're building. And I have a really good friend that launched a somewhat of a virtual kind of fitness company, like a Peloton competitor, essentially. He built up this brand over the past few years, and I've had a lot of conversations with him. His is obviously a much larger scale, but that was one thing where any of our conversations, he's like, stop waiting or don't wait for things to be perfect or to have this completely, fully fleshed out plan. Just do it. Execute until you hit a road bump or you hit a block, and then figure out what that solution is, adapt to the circumstances, find the solution, move on, and you just keep going until you hit a wall every time. And that's really the only way to make it happen, or if not, these things sit as ideas. You can't be sloppy, obviously, and you do have to have a at least loosely formed plan, but it's going to evolve as you go along, and just anticipate and expect that there's going to be a lot of bumps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully that
Yeah,
answers
That's
that.
great
yeah.
advice. That is great advice, especially with how fast the NFT and crypto space is moving. You got to kind of keep moving with it, and something that you thought was a great idea 6 months ago is probably non-existent now. So that's really good advice.
And then one thing, not to keep rambling here, but the other thing is we hear this a lot about projects, betting on the people. It's been the same thing. Interview 100 different people, talk to 100 different people. Like, people that you have good feelings about are going to be the ones that you want on your team and that you're building your project with, right? And it's the same. That at the end of the day, that's what's going to make a project successful, is that you have a group of people who won't accept failure and that are passionate about it, and will work day in and day out like it's their job, even if it's not.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, invest in leaders. And I think if you're listening to this today, I think you should go check out Powder Monkeys. You got one hell of a leader here.
I
Yeah.
appreciate the plug, Nate.
All right, you ready for a little fireside round?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, Azuki or Doodles?
Ooh, that's a tough one, but I got to go Zuki.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite fast food?
Super junk fast food, In-N-Out Burger, man. It's unrivaled.
I love In-N-Out. Whenever I go out to Vegas, I gotta hit In-N-Out at least once.
Something about it. It's amazing.
Night out or night in?
Lately, night in for sure, so I can work and do some stuff for the project.
Yeah, but you like you said, you wouldn't mind a night with a little bottle of vodka and some beers, huh?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
First PA meetup, gonna go down. All right, dream car.
If we're not going too crazy, I'm a big Aston Martin fan. I like those.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking about pizza earlier before we kicked off. What's your favorite pizza spot in New York?
Favorite is probably John's on Bleecker in the city. If you haven't been, I think best bang for your buck. You can actually get in and get a slice, and you don't wait 3 hours for it. So it's hard to beat. I would definitely say, yeah, John's on Bleecker all day.
Awesome. Well, yeah, DC, this was fun, man. Really appreciate you coming on. You spread some good knowledge, and anybody, like I said before, considering good project, good leader to invest in, Powder Monkeys is your go-to. I know I'll be buying. This is not financial advice, but really appreciate you coming on. It was a good time.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you again. And yeah, I would love to have you guys on the crew, and we're going to teach Fran how to ski so he doesn't have to use cardboard anymore.
Hell yeah, man.
Damn right we are.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Web3 Experience. We hope to see you back again next week for a great interview.